Right, so we have a few things to discuss. I couldn't actually find this article. It's the sad thing about LSS being so small is you can't just Google outsiders collation issue and find this. In fact, none of the articles really pop up, and it's a week old, so it's not even on the front page. It loads. Yeah, so you had to go back. Anyway, what I want to talk about. Obviously, all the issues when it comes to collation that I've found or have seen are not actually what's in this article. So this article pertains to the fact that rainbow foil fabled and legendary cards were placed on the rainbow foil common feeder. So this made god boxes, as I have been told. So boxes where you could get multiple legendary rainbow foil cards. It didn't affect any of the cold foil. The issue with this is what I've seen in correlation, and this is unlike the previous sets, the rares are still random within the Belgian printing, regardless of whether or not you came from the segment of these boxes, because again, it's that foil slot that's been affected, not the actual correlation, the regular correlation of the set. So from all my openings, it's very, very apparent that the rares are highly inconsistent in the Belgian boxes. I think one box I only got around 38 to 40, and then the other one I got 44. One was over the 48 mark, so it is still random in a sense. There is not the two rares that you find in the Japanese boxes or any previous sets. So, interesting to me. I always thought that was the issue they were talking about, but no, they were talking about god boxes and just the increased pull rates of fabled and legendary rainbow foil cards. So as here, they've calculated at maximum it's a 1.6 additional of the legendaries and fabled, but in realistic theorizing, right, they believe it's 0.4 to 0.8, so half of that. Obviously, can go either way. This, from my estimate, would be this is the theoretical total. They've been able to recall regardless of what is actually stated in this, and this is the amount that actually entered circulation and distribution. So what does that mean? Well, again, I said recall. So I strongly believe that once they figured out this issue and they figured out the serial numbers, where is it? Case codes, that's what they're calling them. So they figured out the case codes, they pulled these boxes back. That would be the realistic understanding from their side in terms of PR would be to take these boxes out of circulation. Because not only is it bad to obviously increase the pull rate, because it takes secondary market, and Flesh and Blood, unlike MTG, cares about their secondary market. In fact, they're doing a whole week on collecting. So, where does that lead to? Well, this is my theorizing headcanon, connecting the dots. So in their Baltimore draft announcement, we want to let you know we have a solution to differing outsiders regional boxes correlation. So again, I thought this was the fact that Japanese boxes, the rares were set as 2 per pack, whereas Belgium you could get 1, you could get 2, you could get 3, and obviously the rainbow foil could then attribute to a 4th. So they're going to make use of a unique booster mix that they don't want to share further details on. What does that say? Well, if they don't want to clearly state, we're using a combination of the two, we're only going to use Japanese, we're only going to use Belgium, what could that mean? Well, to me, the best thing that they could honestly do is recall boxes, have those boxes, and use them for drafting. Could you imagine a higher setting than Baltimore, so one of the larger scale events, if they were to have a round of God box drafting, call it whatever you want. So accelerated drafting where the power level of what everyone is pulling is higher and is known to be higher because again, they have the case codes and they know which cases are. So they could turn this somewhat of a disaster in printing and manufacturing into a PR stunt or success. So they take any boxes they managed to recall and process, and they use them for a special drafting event. It doesn't have to be a competitive drafting event, so it can be, a showcase event or something like that, where they get X person to come play along, and it could be a larger spectacle. And it would in my opinion, be the best use of this issue. It would honestly sell the high level play, because you get players who maybe play sealed and have a better understanding for the game, and all of a sudden you introduce the ability to sort of guarantee that they will pull these stronger level cards, that they can draft around these legendary cards. And I think that would make for a very, very interesting sort of almost experiment, because they could do it going forward. And I think not getting into the collector mentality, because that's another thing with Magic that I've never understood. If you were going to, I guess the master sets are technically a higher power draft format where you know you're getting X good cards, but definitely there could be something there in terms of Flesh and Blood, the ability to present to these players X cards and have them draft around. Even if it was in an event, you can bring one card to draft around, or there's a pool of X cards and they get handed out, and then you can draft around them. Or even whichever character you're assigned to, you're able to automatically use said equipment. So I know there's generally a shared pool for the tokens, but to increase the power level of that and the ability to demonstrate to any onlookers that there is this high level of play outside of the standard format. I mean, we're already branching into an update on the Commoner and overall larger areas of play and competitive nature. So it's just an interesting thought that I wanted to put out there. And it did surprise me, because again, that was my understanding of the issue, was the fact that Belgium is far less consistent than Japanese. So, pulling Japanese or drafting with Japanese, you're going to have a more consistent ability to structure X deck, especially in terms of rare slots. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I do also want to talk about Commoner formats and deck sizes, as well as the new terminology, but I think we'll leave that for the next one. Hope you enjoyed.